Welcome back to the deep dive. You know how we do it. We take your sources, all the articles and research, and we just pull out the essential insights. We want to give you the fastest way to get really, truly well-informed. And today, we're tackling something that's, well, it's subtle, but it's also incredibly high stakes.
Yeah.
It's the hidden language of tone in English.
It really is. It's a problem that you see everywhere.
Yeah.
Across industries, in emails, global teams.
Yeah.
You name it.
Yeah.
If you've ever written a sentence that was, perfectly correct English, but the reaction you got felt a bit chilly.
Or you worried you just sounded too demanding.
Exactly. If that's you, then this deep dive is going to be perfect. The thing is, English can sometimes feel very direct, maybe a little serious, or even cold. And that happens even when you fully intend to be polite.
So we're basically pulling back the curtain on the unspoken rules. Our mission today is to give you a genuine shortcut to sounding, well, instantly more friendly, more approachable.
And considerate. We are extracting these high-frequency phrases that native speakers use all the time. But here's the key. They're not used for conveying information or data.
No.
They are used purely and solely for managing tone.
Think of it like emotional armor for your messages. You don't need to spend years trying to master all these complex grammar tenses.
Not at all. We're focusing only on implementation. Just small, powerful little phrases, linguistic nuggets, really, that you can drop into an email or a conversation right away to signal warmth and respect.
Okay, so let's unpack this core idea that, the sources really drove home. And that is being grammatically correct in English.
Yeah.
Just does not mean you sound friendly.
Not at all. It's a huge misconception.
You can write a perfect sentence syntactically, but if it doesn't have this tonal cushioning, the message can land with a surprising amount of frost.
And that right there is often the main source of cross-cultural confusion. If you translate a request directly from another language, maybe one where being direct signals respect.
Right.
The result in English can sound like an order. And that's because native English speakers are constantly, almost subconsciously, softening their language, especially in writing, like in an email.
We use extra words. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
But they aren't words that explain more. They're purely functional.
Yes. Their only job is to cushion the social impact of the sentence, particularly when we're asking someone to do something for us.
And that cushioning works psychologically, right?
Yeah.
It signals respect for the other person's autonomy.
It does. These little phrases, they act as low urgency status markers. By adding them, you are implicitly telling the listener, I value your time, I value your schedule, and I'm not just dropping a heavy burden on you.
And that single signal of consideration makes all the difference.
It's the difference between a compliant colleague and a truly cooperative partner.
So if we accept that, then the most critical place to start is how we make requests. Because nothing sounds more abrasive than a direct command. It doesn't matter if you're talking to a close colleague or, someone you barely know.
Absolutely. The danger is in those simple declarative sentences that ask for action. They just feel like a demand because there's no emotional or social buffer.
Let's go through some of those classic too direct examples that we found. These are the phrases you want to just get rid of immediately. Things like, send me the file.
Oh, that one's rough.
Or check this report. Or maybe the worst one, replying today. I mean, they're efficient, sure, but they sacrifice all warmth.
So how do we fix this? How do we soften it? Well, we have 3 really excellent, I'd say non-negotiable friendly alternatives that native speakers just rely on constantly at work.
Okay, let's start with the first one, maybe the most widely used. And that's, could you?
Yes, could you is your polite, respectful foundation. It's the workhorse. But for it to be really effective, you should almost always pair it with a time softener.
What do you mean by a time softener?
Something like, could you send me the file when you have a moment? That last part, when you have a moment, that's the crucial bit. It signals that you're considerate of their workload, that this isn't, a 5-alarm fire.
That makes sense. But wait, what if I use could you too much?
Right.
Especially with, say, my boss. Does this start to sound a little weak or too deferential?
That's a brilliant point, and the nuance here really matters. In a very casual chat, or if the request is tiny, maybe you skip it. But in a professional context, could you signals respect, not weakness.
Okay.
But the real next level phrase for politeness, the one that really says, I am a highly natural speaker, that's our second option. Would you mind?
The classic.
Would you mind checking this for me? This one is just incredibly friendly and natural. It works because it implies there's a potential burden and it gives the other person an easy way out.
Even though nobody ever says, Yes, I would mind.
Exactly. But the act of asking if they mind just elevates the politeness so much.
And the third option is all about removing pressure, which is so important over email when you know the other person is juggling 10 different things. And that's when you get a chance.
This phrase is basically a workload-aware statement. You combine it with a soft request. So, for example, when you get a chance, could you reply?
Right.
That structure lets the other person manage their own time. It softens the request, but you don't lose any clarity.
But what about that edge case? What if I do need to reply today? How do I use a softener without, creating confusion about the urgency?
Okay, that's when you have to be explicit about the deadline, but you still keep the cushioning. So instead of reply today, you'd say something like, when you get a chance, could you please reply by the end of the day?
Ah, I see.
And then you add, I really appreciate the quick turnaround. See? You've combined the autonomy-respecting phrase with the actual boundary. You maintain the tone, but you also uphold the requirement.
That's the key takeaway for this first group, then. Native speakers use these phrases constantly. It isn't some optional layer of niceness.
No, it's the standard. It's the expected way to make requests in modern English communication.
Okay, moving on. Let's talk about those sentences that just sound cold, because the positive intent, the emotion behind it, is missing.
Right. You need a phrase right at the beginning that signals, hey, I'm not trying to be demanding here. This is a low-stakes thing.
And these are our intent softeners. Tiny little words that carry huge psychological weight. The first one is that indispensable word, just.
Just is the ultimate psychological diffuser. It just minimizes the perceived impact of your message. You're not asking for a major favor. You're just checking in or just following up.
It changes the entire frame of the interaction. So instead of launching into some big inquiry, you might say, I just wanted to ask about the revised timeline.
Or just wanted to quickly check if you got the documents.
You're immediately telling the recipient, this is not a big deal and it won't take long.
Precisely. It subtly shifts the burden of importance away from the speaker. It makes the whole interaction feel less official, less like an interruption. I wanted to check. Sounds serious. I just wanted to check. Sounds conversational.
And the second phrase in this group is fantastic for setting expectations about time. And that's a quick.
This is so powerful, especially in subject lines or chat messages. Instead of just diving in, you introduce it with a quick question about the data.
Or a quick reminder about the deadline.
Yes. By using a quick, you implicitly frame the whole thing as short, manageable, and considerate of the other person's, very limited attention span. When you interrupt someone, you immediately owe them a debt of minimized inconvenience. This phrase pays that debt right up front.
It just manages expectations from the very first word.
It really does.
All right, so we know how to ask politely and how to introduce our intent softly. Now we have to look at the flip side, how we reply. Because nothing undermines a polite request more than getting a cold, one-word answer.
That's so true. We rely way too much on a simple yes or okay. I mean, they're correct, but they have no warmth. They sound like a confirmation that's required, not an energetic, cooperative agreement.
You want to sound warm, cooperative, confident.
Exactly. So we have 4 superior high-frequency responses that signal enthusiasm and partnership. The first is perfect for casual, internal team stuff. Sure thing.
Sure thing. Yeah, it's casual, positive. If someone asks, can you forward that email?
A responsive sure thing is just so much friendlier than just yes.
Oh.
It signals immediate willingness.
And our next one is what the sources identified as maybe the single most common conversational response in English today. And that is, sounds good.
Oh, this phrase is incredibly versatile. It signals agreement, but it also signals enthusiasm for the idea. It works for meeting times, for drafts, for plans, anything conceptual, really.
Does meeting at 3 p.m. work? Sounds good.
Perfect.
And how is that different from our third alternative, which is a bit more focused on logistics? That works for me.
That works for me is really great for schedules, arrangements, all the logistical stuff, especially when you're coordinating with clients or external people where a sure thing might feel a little too casual.
Right.
It clearly communicates availability and cooperation, but it keeps a little bit of a professional distance.
And finally, the response that is just miles better than no problem or you're welcome, especially in customer service or any kind of internal support role. Happy to help.
This one is all about conveying positive intent. It reframes the whole action. If a colleague thanks you for helping them with a project, replying with happy to help reinforces that you value them and your job.
It's not just that you didn't have a problem doing it.
Right. You were happy to do it. Big difference.
Okay, so we've softened the requests, we've managed expectations, and we've warmed up the responses. Our final group, Group 4, is all about those friendly endings. This is where the emotional feel of your entire message can change with just one small addition.
The end of the sentence it's the final punctuation mark of your tone. It determines the lasting impression you leave.
Let's look at 4 fantastic friendly closers, starting with the simplest one, a kind of preemptive gratitude. Thanks so much.
Simple, clear, so effective. It conveys gratitude proactively before the person has even done the thing. It implies you know they'll help, and you're thankful for the effort they're about to make.
Then there's a slightly deeper expression of appreciation. I really appreciate it.
This one's great when the request was a little bigger, a bit more of a burden. It shows you recognize the effort involved. You're acknowledging the effort, not just the outcome.
Our third option is perfect for collaborative work. Let me know what you think.
Oh, this is excellent when you've sent a draft or a proposal. It actively shows you value their input. It opens the door for collaboration instead of just signaling, here, I am done. It's an inclusion phrase.
And number 4, the ultimate professional, positive sign-off when you need a follow-up. Looking forward to hearing from you.
It just maintains such a positive, expectant tone. So much better than a curt, awaiting your reply. It implies a pleasant future interaction.
So connecting all these groups, we get to the one major mistake that can sabotage all this hard work. The sources called it the silence trap.
And this is critical. The big mistake that learners often make is just being silent, or just stopping right after the functional part of their sentence.
Let's hear the difference. Okay, listen to this version. Could you check the spreadsheet for me? Period. Just silence.
It sounds so sharp. It still feels like a checklist item, even though you started politely with, could you? The soft intent just vanishes at the end.
Right. Now listen to the softened natural version. Could you check the spreadsheet for me? Let me know what you think. And thanks so much.
The contrast is palpable. Native speakers almost always follow up with a friendly tag or some kind of closing gesture. They need that final little phrase that is dedicated entirely to tone.
To signal that the communication is ending on a positive, respectful note.
Yes.
So even if your intention was perfectly clear, if the final sound is abrupt, that's what sticks with the listener. The final impression seals the tone, and you have to actively prevent that feeling of sharpness.
And the way to prevent it is by layering. You use a polite intro phrase from Group 1, and you pair it with an appreciative closing from Group 4. That combination, those bookends of friendliness, is what makes communication in English successful.
So we have covered all the key ways to immediately sound more friendly, less demanding, and just more cooperative by using these phrases. The ones used not for facts, but for feeling.
And so, here is your challenge for the week. We want you to focus on immediate application.
Think of one standard sentence you usually say or write in English. Maybe it's a request you make to a teammate, or a standard email sign-off you use with a client.
And then just intentionally add one new friendly phrase from this deep dive. Maybe you switch from reply today to when you get a chance, could you reply?
Or from just okay to sounds good.
Small change, but a big immediate difference in how your message is going to be received. Just try it out this week.
And that leads to our final thought.
If the real goal of communication isn't just technical clarity, just getting the facts across, but successful cooperation, collaboration, building smooth professional relationships, well, then the question becomes, how much more of our time should we spend focusing on the subtle music of tone and consideration rather than just the strict grammar of correctness?
That's a concept worth thinking about every single time you hit send.
I think so.
Absolutely. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the language of friendliness. We'll be back soon with more critical information extracted just for you.